Hello everybody, welcome back to another video and a bit of a bigger project today, namely this little, actually not so little, Portulacaria Afra here that I have bought from a garden center. I bought it because I was really interested in the trunk line, which is very thick on this tree already. The goal for today is, first of all, to get it out of this pot it came in, especially get it out of the soil it came in, because it seems to be quite dense, this soil, and not the best really for a succulent, which Portulacaria Afra is. And probably a bit depending on what we will find with regards to the root mass in here, we will also start to style this tree a little bit, maybe prune something back. But first of all, as I said, let's get it out of this pot. I will try to actually loosen the soil right here, right now, just to get a first idea on how well the root mass is developed here. And you can see a bit of root mass at the bottom, not that much at the top. That is probably the case because it is potted up quite deeply actually into this pot, so there will be more trunk in here still than we actually see right now. What I will do is I will take off this soil off camera because it is usually not the most interesting part you can do when repotting a tree, and it is quite messy, so we'll do this outside to avoid getting dirt everywhere into my flat. But I will be right back then with the actual result. What I will do, and that I can tell you of course, is to first take off this top dressing here where there's no roots, just to get an idea of how far the trunk goes down. And then I will actually switch it around and start to make my way up from the bottom here to really make sure we don't damage any roots in case we would rip them off. So that is what I'm going to do right now, and I will be back with the result in a minute. So here we are back. I took off all the soil and I am happy to report that we actually have two separate trees here. So two very nice starters for bonsai. I will definitely work on them both. I think in this video we will focus on one of them. I would just suggest here the bigger one, that we start with this one. And this one here we will keep for another video, another day, to also work on this one. They both seem to have nice potential, so I would say let's get working on them. So let me put away this one, as I said, for another video, and already also bring then a small pot that I thought could make sense for this tree. Will fit quite nicely in here. As you can see, I'm not putting it into a bonsai pot yet because I think at the moment it still needs a bit more development anyway. There are some flaws on this tree. I'm not sure we will be able to correct that easily. It will probably take some time. You can see, for example, a bit of inverse taper here. So maybe at one point we might actually cut it here to get rid of the inverse taper, or we will be able to actually grow it a little bit. We will see that still. But for now, the first thing that I would do is actually pot it up. So as I said, I already prepared the pot here. I put a little bit of mesh here in the bottom so the soil doesn't go through the drainage hole. And speaking of the soil, let me get my soil and start to fill up the pot a little bit. So we put a little bit of soil. Then we place our tree. I have not really worked at all at the roots. I feel the root ball as it is quite fine. I don't want to stress the tree too much. We have quite nicely radial roots starting to show here, a bit of nebari also starting to show. So I wouldn't work too much on the roots. Let me place the tree, also making sure it is not too low in here. And then we fill this pot. We will definitely need to work in the soil here because we have left on so many roots that of course we need to make sure the soil reaches all the little areas in between those roots and fill out this entire pot here, because otherwise this can be harmful to the roots if we have air pockets in here, also pockets where maybe excess water can collect them. So we need to make sure this tree is fully supported by the soil we're gonna put in here right now. Let me see if it actually will be stable like this, or if we might need to either pot it a bit deeper. I think we need to pot it a bit deeper, so let me do this again. So that's the good thing if we work with inorganic soil. Easy to take it back a step and redo it. So we'll pot this a bit deeper. It actually makes sense to have this part covered here also, because as I said, we have some slight inverse taper on this tree. So if we pot it lower, we have a chance that roots will also develop around here. And then we can cut this lower part here and work with the really already thicker part up here. And this way correct the inverse taper we are dealing with right now. So once again, try to stabilize it nicely in the middle here. Fill in some soil. It is the soil mixture I have been using now for basically all of the trees I have done in the last couple of weeks and months, and they're all doing very well in it. It's probably because it is so airy that it really simply works extremely well on my trees. So I have fully switched to inorganic soil when it comes to all of my bonsai projects that have needed repotting within the last couple of weeks and months. So here we are. Usually for most trees I would actually soak this now in water. As we're speaking here of a succulent, what I will do, first of all make sure this is all stable here. What I will do is actually not water it for at least 7 days, because we do want to have a dry environment with our succulents at this point, and only later on then really focus on watering it. So now we move from the soil and the pot a bit up to the canopy. So now let's take a closer look at this tree actually, because right now it's basically just a shrub, not really any form, and we need to clean it up definitely. Also clear out some of the parts we do not want to keep on this tree, and I will be quite liberal in actually taking out some of the branches here, because this tree has not been trained as a bonsai, as is quite clearly visible, and that is the goal for this tree. So that also means we do have to take certain steps and measures to bring it on that way. What I still can see is we still have a bit of this inverse taper showing here, but that will be something we need to work on in the next couple of years actually. Maybe even we will do a trunk chop here and grow new roots around here. It is a succulent, it is a jade tree, so that would be an option that is viable as well. So where do we start here? We have this lower branch here that, of course, at once it led to this inverse taper here, because it leads to a swelling around where it comes off the main trunk. Is the question, do we leave it on or do we take it off? I think it actually adds to this tree, so I would leave it on. We might actually wire it down a little bit. You can wire jades and Portulacaria Afra, so we might wire this down a little bit. We will also stunt the growth, I would say, around here to create a pad. So I will get my scissors. And as I said, I would probably around this length take out. We will have a really high amount of cuttings today. I will try to root the bigger ones of them. Again, Portulacaria Afra, quite easy to root cuttings, so we will definitely get a lot of propagations also out of this tree. So as we said, we leave this one on. That means also we have to work our way a bit up. I see here we already have the first branching going on, so we have a little potential back, because I would see right away this as the front of the tree, or maybe this also as the front of the tree. Could be either side, but I would use this little branch down as definitely a side branch, so it must be one of those two directions. As here this one is then a bit more in the front, I would actually prefer this as the front, yes. So we could also take out this little rogue growth here and look at this back branch and what we're going to do with that. What we often have here with this wildly grown Portulacaria Afra is that you have this triple ramification going on here. So like one branch turning into three. So because you have the main branch and then some side branch that started to develop. They all stayed on the tree, all healthy. But which one will we actually take out? I do think we should keep this on because it can fill in this area here in the future quite nicely. This one we have in parallel, so I'm not a fan of this right away when I see it. So I will go in with my concave cutters. We have so much foliage on here, actually I'm not sure if I can come in here as close as I need to and take this out. I use my concave cutters because they allow me to really make a flush cut here, so we don't have the risk of, again, a lot of new growth coming again and again from this part here. So if we cut it quite flush to the main trunk line, we might not get any new growth from here because there's simply no growth node. But I have seen Portulacaria Afra can bud back from basically anywhere on this tree. So we cut out the first branch here, already opening up this area here, making it easier to later separate this into its own pad. That still leaves us with 2 branches here, and I think that is actually also okay the way it is. I can see here we have a shoot that comes out quite straight again, so I would also just shorten this one a little bit, making it again a bit more pronounced that there is a difference between these 2 areas up here. Here we have also potential nice look for a back branch. However, I don't see any ramification on this one here, or only starting down here, so why don't we encourage this a little bit more? And for this branch, you can see we have, I think, a bit of a dead stump in here. It's a bit difficult to see, but here we have a dead stump. So let me get this out of the way. It's basically all the way behind here, a little dead stump, and then inward growth, which also not a fan of it, to be honest. So again, I'm going in here, trying to take out one by one because I probably won't reach them both in one go. And there we also emptied out this space here. This one we can leave on for right now. Making our way a bit more to the top again. Here we have growth that comes directly at us if we see this as the front. So I would stunt this growth also to a point where I can see the tree already started to ramify. Simply cleaning up this tree a little bit because it is a bit congested here, I dare say. So just shorten a lot of this, and I can see the reason is because we have so many different branches coming off here that simply leads to it being a bit crowded here, but we can definitely fix that. So I always try to, just for my thinking right now, I'm trying to always go with growth that is going outwards, because of course we want to spread the canopy here. So everything that's growing upwards or even a bit crossing with other stuff, I think we should take that out. So for example, here, this growth that is growing inwards, that is hindering a lot of the other parts of the tree, is something we can take out. And you see how much it already frees up this space in here. But I think we can even go a bit further here and take this part out here as well. So also take out this growth here. So let me see how I can best reach in here. That is always the big question. And we take it out, opening up this part here, and potentially, as we left this one here on, this could fill this in quite nicely, or also just the growth from this little side branch here can fill this in quite nicely in the future. So we have this very tall growth that we left on now. Here's the question, which direction again won't we take it? Of course, here again, we can fill in this area quite nicely. It is growing a bit too tall, it is a bit laggy here, so why not with doing that, just shortening it a little bit. That already brings us down quite nicely. We still have this growth in the back here that is a bit in the middle of everything, so this one here, it is quite long. However, I do like that it fills in this back area here. We might even spread this out a little bit in the future, but again, I want this one to be the leader, not this one, so I will definitely shorten this considerably, taking again a lot of height out of this tree. This leaves us with this growth part here. I can see there has been some dieback here, so probably it broke off or something in the shop here a little bit. bit damaged, so why not fix this also right away now? So again, looking at this one we want to keep on because it fills in this area right here. I can see here some back growth. Why not take off simply the tip here, shorten the tree. So we opened it up already quite nicely. I like the V here that we have created. If we look here, I would leave both of them on at the moment. I'm fine with that. And I think for now, for an initial styling, this is all I would do. I'm not even sure if I will wire it. Yeah, we will, actually. And the reason is because it is quite malleable still right now. That changes with Jade quite fast. So let's take advantage of that. Wire this one. Maybe even with this one a little bit, spreading this out. I think this could also look nice. Just spreading this one out, also revealing a little bit of the back growth here. So we do that. We will need quite some wire here. So let me cut that. And apply the wire. So as I said, we go in this V motion here. I will go up this main trunk, trying to keep it, actually what I normally don't do, almost a bit loose, I would say. Wait, let me adjust this a bit to give us still more space. So we go up here, as I said. Now I think we make one more turn here to really give it the stability that we're gonna need. And then just quite loosely up here, because I just wanna give it a direction. It's not like we go very, very detailed. I just wanna make sure we can anchor this down a little bit to have it spread out. Like this then, for example, making sure not to bend it too harshly to not rip it open here at this point. So that is something we need to avoid. So here we are a bit too low, so let me go once again up. Make our way through here. And here can be a bit more detailed, definitely. So we really go on and on around here. Then on either one of those two, let me see, probably the back one here. So just around here. And then we will try to quite gently bring this down. Definitely not too much, because always, of course, here in the bend, we have the risk of it otherwise breaking open. But yeah, we wired it quite nicely, spread this area around here quite nicely. As I said, this little piece here in the middle, this will definitely fill in either with this growth here, new growth coming in this direction, will fill in, will be bushy quite fast actually. But in general, I think we set up this tree quite nicely for the future. And yes, I would say for today, for this tree, this is all we will have to do. I will just make sure to, as I said, not water it right now, but give it a couple of days to settle into this pot. And then once we get into watering, then start to see new growth, and then in the future, of course, work on it. And sooner or later, probably in 1 or 2 years, also pot it then into its first training bonsai pot. So I will keep you updated on this tree. If you have any questions about it, feel free to leave them in the comments. I will answer them as soon as I see them. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope I will see you in the next video. Until then, take care.